you may also notice that they are not really there for you emotionally. They find it difficult to take accountability. If something goes wrong, it's never their fault. Notice things like emotional manipulation, where they use guilt, gaslighting, or silent treatment to control you. Now, what can you do? Let's talk about strategy now, because once you recognize this sign, that's just one step. So at first, they might seem super charming, confident, charismatic. Everybody loves them. They might compliment you, hype you, make you feel like they care about you a lot and they value you and they want what is best for you. But over time, things start to shift. You may now start to notice some red flags, such as they want to dominate conversations. It's always about their problems or their achievements, their drama. When you share something personal, they dismiss it or spin it back to be about themselves. And you may also notice that they are not really there for you emotionally. When you need support, they are mysteriously unavailable, even though physically they might be there. But when they need you, you're expected to drop everything. And you'll find that sometimes they make subtle digs at you and they call it sarcasm, or no, it's just a joke. You find that these things leave you feeling small, and if it continues for long, you may start to question your self-worth. They compete with you sometimes if they are friends. It's always as if there's a comparison. When you go through tough times, they've had it worse. Everything about them is almost like a comparison. They find it difficult to take accountability. If something goes wrong, it's never their fault. They find it hard to apologize. And if you find yourself in a relationship with people like this, you can feel like it's a roller coaster, and you may sometimes feel like you're walking on eggshells, because at the beginning they've love bombed you, they've swept you off your feet, and you feel like you found your soulmate. But then that intense affection starts to fade and the switch flips, and then you notice things like emotional manipulation, where they use guilt, gaslighting, or silent treatment to control you. In fact, you start to doubt your own memories or your feelings, and you find that you're apologizing for things you didn't even do. You notice that they crave admiration, and it's not just enough to love them, you have to idolize them, and if you don't, you feel their approval. They struggle with empathy. When you're upset, they might downplay your emotions, blame you for feeling bad, or make it about themselves, and then you start to feel drained. It's hard for you to pinpoint what the issue is, but you have that gut feelings that something is off, and you may start to wonder, am I being too sensitive? You find that you're constantly feeling emotionally exhausted. At this point, you really have to start paying attention to how you're feeling internally, because one of the hardest things about being with a narcissistic partner is that they can be incredibly convincing, and you may start to think you're the problem. But relationships should build you up and not slowly break you down. Let's talk about a narcissistic boss. This is a real challenge because they're in charge of your paycheck maybe, or you have to work with them, and you can't exactly break up with them if you're in a relationship with them, or if it's a friend, and you can't ghost them because you constantly have to go to work to pay the bills. But you can recognize what is going on and learn to navigate it more strategically. So here are some classic signs for a narcissistic boss. They micromanage you, then they blame you. They don't trust that you can work independently, but when things go wrong, they point fingers at you. They love people that are yes sir kind of people. If you disagree with them or you offer a different idea, they might shut you down or even find a way to punish you. And they like to play favorites. They are very good with office politics, and people that are not close to them will find it hard to believe what you're experiencing with them. They demand loyalty but wouldn't give it. They want your full commitment but would hesitate to throw you under the bus if it benefits them. Working with someone like this can feel like a no-win situation. You want to be professional and do your job, but of course it's exhausting to constantly manage their ego. Now, what can you do? Let's talk about strategy now, because Once you recognize this sign, that's just one step. The next thing is, how do you now deal with it? And the number one thing, which is very important, because you just have to learn how to do this. This is key, and it is setting boundaries. Because whether it's a friend, a partner, a boss, you need to be clear on what's okay and what's not, and then stick to it. And setting boundaries might involve things like advocating for yourself. If they're asking you to do last minute jobs, you can politely but firmly say no, especially when it's not your responsibility. And when you don't feel comfortable about certain things, being confident enough to speak up politely but firmly, just to put that boundaries in place. And number two strategy you can put in place, this is more of a mindset, because you need to have this mindset to understand how to deal with them. It is not your responsibility to fix them. Do not try to fix them. Unfortunately, you can't change people if they're not willing to change. Even if you're in a relationship with that person, you can't love someone into changing, and you just can't explain your perspective enough to make them see it. People would only change if they want to, so why would you try to lose yourself trying to make it happen? And then if you've been able to put boundaries in place and you understand that you can't fix them, the next thing you need to do is build a kind of emotional wall. You have to limit your emotional investment, and this is not about becoming cold, but you just have to learn how to keep a healthy emotional distance. Like I said, it's not about becoming cold towards them. I'm saying learning how to become more emotionally alert and conscious. Don't rely on them for validation, approval, or for your emotional stability, because they probably can't give it to you in a healthy way. And if it's in a workplace, you have to keep your communications professional, brief, and documented. Yes, don't vent to them. Don't expect them to be your mentor or whatever. Don't expect them to be your friend at all. Just focus on your job and on your role, and keep being professional. And then the fourth strategy is finding your support system, because the saddest thing you can do to yourself is isolate yourself. Being around narcissistic people for too long can make you feel a bit isolated, because they have a way of making you feel isolated, not wanting to hang around other people, just wanting your world to revolve around them. And this can leave you feeling confused and second-guessing everything. So you need to build a life outside of being around them, especially if they are your friends or you're in a relationship with them. You have to build a life outside of them, because it's quite crucial to have people you can trust and you can vent to. When you share your story with some other person, you realize that, oh, I'm not crazy after all. This is what is happening here. Sometimes they can share their experiences with you, and it makes you become more insightful to the situation you're currently in. Then the fifth strategy is knowing when to walk away, because truth be told, no matter what you do, if everything fails and the situation is becoming more toxic than you can handle, then you need to consider walking away, because sometimes that's the healthiest thing you can do for yourself, and that is to distance yourself or even cut ties with such people entirely. I know this is not always possible, especially maybe if it's your boss or if it's someone you're married to, and maybe there are kids involved, because life can sometimes put you in a difficult situation. But when you do have control, try to use it. Your mental health matters a lot, and you deserve relationships that nourish and not drain you. Narcissistic behavior is rooted in their wounds, their ego, and their unmet needs, and not your worth. You have to remind yourself of this. And if you're affected by what they're doing, it's not because you're weak, it's because they master the act of emotional manipulation. And if you're trying to protect yourself, you have to tell yourself that you're not being selfish, you're just looking out for yourself, you're prioritizing yourself. Let me tell you, there are a lot of narcissists out there in the world, and unfortunately some of us might fall prey to this, but we just need to stay alert and emotionally conscious to how people make us feel. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Please take care of yourself and give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. Drop a comment down below, share, turn on your notification bells for more interesting content to come, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.